Alright guys, so we are moving into new information, logarithms. So a logarithm or a log, really you'll hear me just say log, but logarithm is the whole word for it. It's another way of writing exponents. So whenever you first look at this, your logarithmic form, it's read as the log base b of a equals x. I know this is all brand new information, so just try to process. You may have to watch this more than once. So in exponential form, that is written as b to the x power equals a. All right, so all we're doing in this first section is writing from log form into exponential form. So your big number, okay, is going to be whatever is here. All right, is right here beside your log. So your tiny number becomes your big number. All right, your exponent. So your exponent right here is going to be whatever your log form equals, and then your equal sign in your exponent form or your exponential form, so whatever it equals over here, is going to be right beside your tiny number. Okay, so I know it kind of messes with your brain. It's really just learning what goes where. Okay, so let's look at number 1. So the first thing I want you to pull out is this little number right here. That's going to become your base number for exponential form. Okay, and that's the base of your log anyway, so it all ties together. Then we want our exponent next for exponential form. So that's the light blue. So we look over here. That is going to be whatever came after the equal sign in our log form. So that's the 2. And then the answer in exponential form is what's in green. So that would be 9 for here. So that is this log written in exponential form. So again, we're going to look at number 2. The first thing we pull out is our big number, our base number. And that is right here on your log. So we're going to say 6. Now we look for our exponent. Remember, your exponent is whatever is right here in your log. So 6 to the 3rd power equals, and then it's going to equal 216, because if we look at our rules at the top, that is what is in green. And so you look in your log function, pull out that number, and write it in your exponential form. Now, I'm going to pause it. I want you to do 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then unpause it, and we will check it. Okay, guys, so here is your answer for 3 through 6. Now, 3 and 4 are pretty self-explanatory. They're just like we did in 1 and 2. 5 and 6 are just like we did in 1 and 2 as well, but I can see how it could have possibly thrown you because you had these fractions in there, but don't let that confuse you. It literally just still works out the same way. So the first thing you pull down, like in number 5, is your base number, that 4. Then you find your exponent. Remember, that's whatever your log function equals, or your log form, equals. So it's going to be to the -2 power. And then whatever comes after your equal sign in exponential form is still right here. It just happens to be a fraction. Same thing with number 6. Here your exponent just happens to be a fraction. It's completely fine. So you're just rearranging this log form to turn it into exponential form here. Okay, so now we are doing the opposite of what we just did. We're starting in exponential form, and we are converting to log. So our first step here is always going to be writing log, because that's how our log form starts, okay? So the log of, remember, our base was our big number. So this is going to be the log of 14. Then our answer on exponential form came next. So 196, and then equals whatever our exponent was. So it's just rewriting it backwards using what we just used in our notes, so at the top of your page. Okay, so now let's look at number 8. So again, we start off by writing log. Okay, and remember our base was the big number, so log base 3. So then the next term in our log form is whatever comes after your equal sign. So it's going to be 81, and then equals whatever the exponent is in our exponential form. So go ahead and pause your video, try the next 4, and then when you unpause it, your answers will be there to see how you did. Okay guys, so here are the answers for 9 through 12. Again, just like when we were converting from log to exponential form, it's still the same thing if you're throwing a negative number or a fraction. You do it the exact same way. Just look at where each thing goes in each type of form and just convert it over. So if you have specific questions, let me know. Remember, you may have to watch the video more than once. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is a common logarithm. So a logarithm with a base of 10 is called a common logarithm, and you don't have to write the base, so it can be written without the base. So another way to write this one is just the log of x. Okay, without having a base written, then it's understood that the base is 10. Okay, so now in order to solve these logarithms, so you notice there's no equal to a number. We're going to solve them by using what we know about exponents. So the first thing we're going to do is rewrite them using exponential form. So this one would be written as 7 to the x power equals 49. Okay, because we don't have an equal right here in our logarithm. So we're just going to put x there whenever we write it into exponential form. Well, what is 7 to the what is 49? 7 squared, right? So we know that x will equal 2 for this one. So look at 14. We're going to approach that the exact same way. So 3 to the x power equals 27. Okay? So 3 to what power is 27? The third power. So that is your answer. That is all you're doing here when you're evaluating your logs, okay? All right, so now let's look at number 15. So we have the log, and then we have 100. What are we missing? We're missing a base, right? Which means that we know our base is going to be 10. We don't know what our exponent is, but it equals 100. So 10 to the what power equals 100? 2. 10 to the second power. Now 16. We have a base of 12, and then we don't know what power equals 1. So remember, anything to the what power equals 1. That's something that you learned way back in Algebra 1. We've even maybe even pre-algebra. We've even touched base on it, but it's easy to forget it whenever you don't talk about it often. So just remember, anything to the 0 power equals 1. So this is going to be x equals 0. So if you have 1 for your answer, it doesn't matter what your base is, your exponent is always going to be 0. Now, I'm going to let you do 17, 18, 19, and 20 on your own. So go ahead and pause, and then when you're finished, hit play again and check your answers. All right, guys, so here are the answers to 17 through 20. So, same thing. These, you may have to, look in your calculator and put things in, because 2 to the 6, we don't know probably off the top of our head that's 64. But you can start plugging things 2 to the 4th power, 2 to the 5th power, until you get to something that matches 64. Same thing with number 18 with 3. So we have 3 to the x power. So if we start plugging in numbers, 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 5th, you'll see 3 to the 5th is what gives you 243. Now down here, we're going to approach it a little bit differently for number 19, because it is a fraction answer, meaning our exponent's going to be negative, okay? So whenever we look at that, then we know 9 to the what power is 81? 2. Well, this is going to be is 81. So when we have 9 to the negative 2, remember if a power is negative, it puts it in the bottom of a fraction. So we're just going to turn that to negative. Okay, so some logarithms are not going to be as easy to evaluate as the ones we just did, and they're going to require the change of base formula. So, meaning that if you try to do these, they're not going to have like certain exponents that you know will work out. So if that's the case, then you can do the change of base formula, which I wrote down for you right here, log A divided by log B. And notice this as well. We're using base 10 because there is a calculator button for that. Work smarter, not harder, right? So A is going to be your big number. So for this, we're going to say the log of 64 over the log of 16. We're going to divide that in our calculator, and we're going to get 1.5. Easy as that, okay? So 22, we're going to say the big number, so the log of 32 over the log of 8. We're going to divide that and then get 1.6 repeating in your calculator. Okay, so just like that, I want you to do the last 4, and then we will go from there. So pause your video right now and finish those up. Okay, guys, so here are your answers for the last 4 on your notes. So remember, we just put the log of your big number, and what I mean by big number is the actual number that's typed out bigger. Okay, so and then over divided by the log of your base, which is going to be your smaller number. So in this case, the 2, divide it out, and then equal, and go ahead and write out whatever the calculator gives you. So remember, you may have to watch this more than once, but you've got this. This is part 1 of 2 for the logs. So go ahead and work on the assignment that goes with the introduction to logarithms. And then once you've got that done, you'll move on to the second video.